Throughout the course, technology has played a very important part in our work. Blogger has been particularly useful, as it's allowed us to edit and upload posts from both school and from home, allowing for an easy way to organise our coursework. It's allowed us to embed videos straight from YouTube, which was really convenient for every stage of the course, including the research stage. I chose to do a lot of my research on Movie Maker, analysing Double Indemnity and Trance, as well as going through the conventions of the film noir genre. After I'd made these videos, I was able to upload them straight from Movie Maker onto YouTube, and from there onto my blog, which saved a lot of time. When we were planning our film, I think we all realised how useful social media actually is in how we communicate with people, as without it, I don't think our coursework could have really taken shape as quickly or efficiently as it did. So from the very start of the topic, our group created a Facebook group, and we're actually still using it now, which shows how important it's been to us. We've used it to discuss ideas for the film, as well as organising who is going to bring which props where, and talking out any issues we've had. This was a good way of communicating for us, as some of us had work commitments and other subjects to do at school, and so we could read the messages and respond to them when it suited us. I also used Facebook to upload images from our photo shoot, as this made it easy for Max and Kelsey to download the images that we had taken that day, and use them for their ancillary tasks and blog. Similarly, YouTube was also vital, as it allowed for all of us to access the uploaded videos of group work, such as practice shots and editing techniques, and share them to our own individual blogs. I also used some free apps which I downloaded on my iPhone, and these included Simple Mind, which allowed us to easily brainstorm ideas for the likes of our production company name or film title, and I could upload these brainstorms straight from my phone to my email and then Blogger, which was handy. I also used the website Animoto, and this was actually really effective for varying my presentational methods. Because the videos can only be around 30 seconds long if you don't pay for membership, I used this site for the smaller tasks like listing the props and costumes we needed for our film. These videos themselves are really customizable, as you can choose from a wide selection of music and background to accompany your images and text. For the ancillary tasks, I used Microsoft Word for my research, as this allowed me to annotate each poster and review, with clear text boxes and arrows helping me emphasise my points. For the actual creation of the poster and review, I used Paint.net, as I'm fairly familiar with this program, and know its layout really well. I found the Magic Wand tool especially useful, as it allowed for me to get rid of the backgrounds of images which I wanted to be transparent. I also made use of the colour editing tools available, and I regularly adjusted the hue, saturation and brightness of the images on both my final and draft texts. Another effect which I found to be really good was the glow effect, as this got rid of the harsh outlines of an image after I'd cropped it, and almost gave the effect of it having a shadow, which I think worked quite well on my poster. For the filmmaking process, we used the school's Sony Handycam HDR CX250E to shoot our film, and we used this because none of us had a suitable camera ourselves, and we were unsuccessful in being able to borrow someone else's DSLR camera. It took us a little while to get used to the camera, as its layout was different to other cameras we have used in the past, but we eventually got the hang of things and, along with the tripod, shot our film. When it came to editing, we felt that there were some gaps which needed to be filled, and so we inserted some voiceovers using QuickTime's audio recorder. We did this for scenes like the factory, when I first speak to Scarlett, and when Lenny calls after Scarlett when she steals the money. For these, we had to wait until the classroom was empty, as we didn't want any background noise interfering. The end results echoed a little bit, but we decided to keep them as we felt it wouldn't be that noticeable given the existing echoes in the factory setting we used. We edited our film on Final Cut Express, as it was already installed on the computers at school. As we had all used the program last year, we took to editing our film quite easily. Final Cut was very useful as it had a simplistic layout and the tools available worked really well. The credit tools available were really effective as well, and we used this for the actors' names in the opening. We did use the program LiveType for our film's title and end credits though, as we felt that the movements and effects were a bit more effective on LiveType. On Final Cut, we also liked the look of the filters available, and so we made use of the colour corrector which, upon adjusting the sliders, were available to give our flashbacks a blue tint. We also used the light rays and screen flares effects to make our flashback scenes have a distinctive and stylised look. We also found it quite challenging to edit together conversations, as we hadn't really done this before, as our AS horror film and music video didn't actually include much dialogue. So, this took us some getting used to. We wanted to make the conversations flow, and so we separated the audio from the video on some of the clips, and we tried to keep the same dialogue from one clip running whilst we inserted the video of other clips over the top to show characters' reactions to the speech. We felt this kept the conversation scenes interesting and varied our shots. However, there was one scene where this didn't really work out, when Lenny stands up from the table as he speaks to Harvey. We really liked the low angle here, but as it was a front-on shot, Lenny's mouth wouldn't have matched up with the rest of the audio that we had planned to use in the background, and so we had no choice but to use the audio from this shot and use a straightforward cut to the next shot's dialogue, as this was the only way the speech would flow. This did, however, make the particular scene seem a bit disjointed, as the cut between the two sets of audio was very noticeable. The only downside to using Final Cut Express when compared to programs like Final Cut Pro is the rendering process. We felt that the long waits for certain clips to render dramatically affected our time management, as sometimes this would double the time it took to edit sequences together. To try and combat this slightly, we made sure that as we waited, we were able to spend our time productively, doing work on our blogs for example. Nonetheless, I feel our skills with Final Cut Express have improved greatly over the course, as even looking back a few months ago at our interpretation of the interrogation scene from Batman The Dark Knight, the vast difference in quality of our editing skills can be seen. In terms of evaluating the film, my group used social media to share the film and as a way to get feedback through Facebook messages and tweets. We also showed our film to a few other students on YouTube and filmed their responses, and this was really useful for us as well. Coming back to Blogger, I feel this is a very useful way to gather and keep track of all the elements we had to complete as part of the course, and it's clearly laid out so we can easily see which parts of the coursework worked well and which didn't. For my actual evaluation, I used Movie Maker to answer the 4 questions, and I found it very easy to use as it allowed me to insert voiceovers and overlay images, and also allowed me to work from home as I don't have Final Cut or any other editing software installed on my laptop. Overall, I am very happy with our end result and feel that our use of technology has improved greatly over the duration of the course and in comparison with our AS level coursework.